The stars were quiet that night. From Earth, they looked like tiny points of light, distant and peaceful. Commander Evan Brooks stood on the bridge of the space station orbiting Mars. He watched the screen in front of him, where blinking red markers showed the movement of ships near the outer colonies. For weeks, these markers had been growing, showing signs of alien activity that no one fully understood. Humanity had always hoped for peace with other civilizations, but now the quiet hope felt fragile. Evan's hand rested on the console. He had spent years training for this, but nothing in his life had prepared him for the feeling of waiting, knowing danger was coming but not knowing exactly when. He turned slightly as diplomat Laura Pierce entered the room. She moved with calm confidence, carrying a tablet full of messages from the Galactic Concord, the Council of Alien Civilizations that claimed control over this part of space. "Any news?" Evan asked. Laura shook her head slowly. "They are still ignoring our warnings. The Council has refused to meet for another week. Meanwhile, attacks on our trade convoys near Alpha Centauri are increasing. They are testing us," Evan frowned. "Testing us. That is one way to put it. 7 ships destroyed in the last 10 days. Civilian crews, Laura, families, children." Laura looked down at her tablet and sighed. "I sent another message this morning. I told them that if they continue, Earth will take action, but I do not think they are listening. They see our patience as weakness." Evan's jaw tightened. "They are wrong about that. We are not weak. We are careful, but there is a limit to patience." Far below the station on Mars, life was moving as normally as it could under the tension. Farmers in the domed cities continued their work. Children went to school, and engineers maintained the growing fleet of defense ships. Earth had been preparing quietly for decades. The fleets that people now called old and outdated had been redesigned, upgraded, and tested in secret. Every human ship carried weapons and defenses that the Council would not have expected. Evan and Laura walked together to a small observation window. From there, the red dust of Mars stretched out beneath them, and the thin atmosphere made the distant sun appear brighter than usual. "Do you think they know what we are capable of?" Evan asked quietly. Laura shook her head. "I doubt it. They have only ever seen us respond politely. They have never seen us angry. They have never seen us fight for ourselves without holding back." In the control room, signals from the colonies continued to stream in. The news was grim. One convoy had been hit so badly near Titan that over 700 civilians had died. Families on Earth saw the news and became angry. Protests broke out across the cities. They demanded that the government act. They were tired of being polite while others attacked them. The president of Earth called an emergency meeting. Scientists, diplomats, and military leaders crowded into the conference room. Large screens showed maps of the colonies, the attacks, and the positions of alien fleets. Laura spoke calmly, reading the messages she had sent. "We have tried diplomacy. We have tried patience. But if the Council does not stop their attacks, we must prepare for a new strategy." One of the younger generals, a man named Luke Hammond, leaned forward. "With all due respect, Laura, I think we should already be preparing. They do not take us seriously. They think we are too polite to fight back." "They are making a mistake," Evan nodded. "He is right. I have been watching their movements for weeks. Every attack is deliberate. They are testing us, learning how far they can push. And every day they are wrong in their assumptions." Laura tapped on her tablet. "I will send one last message. One last warning. It will be calm, clear. But this time it will leave no room for misunderstanding." The Council's headquarters, a massive structure in the orbit of a gas giant, received the message hours later. High Speaker Vornar, a tall, blue-skinned alien with narrow eyes, read it with a small, amused smile. "They are still pretending to be polite," he said. "Do they think we will listen to threats from a minor planet?" "How amusing." His assistants laughed quietly. Vornar believed humans were clever but weak. They had always responded with careful words, never showing the full power they had hidden. Now, he thought, he could continue the attacks without fear. Back on Mars, Evan watched the stars and thought about the families on the lost ships. Each marker on the map represented people with dreams, hopes, and lives taken too soon. "They need to understand," he said softly. "We are not pretending. We are prepared. They just do not know it yet." Meanwhile, Laura finished her transmission. She spoke calmly as though reading a poem, even though every word carried warning. "Stop attacking or we stop pretending to be courteous," she said, and sent it across the galactic network. It was short, simple, and honest. The message traveled through space at light speed, reaching alien systems within hours. Some ignored it, some laughed, and some were uneasy. The Threx Dominion, one of the council members, frowned at the words. They had underestimated humans before. They would pay more attention now. On Earth, people waited for a response. Days passed, but nothing came. Not because the council had accepted the warning, but because they were trying to understand if humanity was bluffing. Humans had always been polite. They had always limited themselves. Could they really mean this? Could they really be ready to fight without holding back? Evan called a meeting of the top fleet commanders. They gathered in a large room on Mars where maps and holograms covered every wall. We cannot wait for them to attack again, he said. We have been preparing for this moment quietly. Our ships are ready. Our crews are ready. And the council has made a mistake in thinking we are only words. Luke Hammond, standing near a hollow map of the Orion Arm, pointed at several blinking red dots. These are the raider ships we detected yesterday. They will hit the outer colonies tonight. If we do not act, more civilians will die. Evan nodded. Then we act. Quietly. Precisely. We defend our people and we show them that patience has limits. Meanwhile, Laura continued her diplomatic work, though her heart was heavy. She wished it did not have to come to war. She wished the council would understand that humanity's courtesy was genuine. But she also knew the truth. Politeness had its limits. When attacked again, humans would respond with strength, not words. As night fell on Mars, hidden fleets began to stir. Deep underground in shipyards that stretched for miles, human engineers and technicians moved through corridors filled with humming machinery. Ships that had once been considered small or obsolete now gleamed with new technology. They carried plasma cannons, shields that adapted to energy attacks, and advanced AI systems that could predict enemy movements. Evan and Luke walked along one of the docks, watching as pilots ran pre-flight checks. They think we are weak, Luke said, shaking his head. They have no idea what we have been building. Evan smiled faintly. Let them think that. Let them feel safe. The moment they take another step against our people, they will see the truth. Above them in orbit, satellites scanned the skies for alien movements. Every blinking red light, every signal was logged, analyzed, and predicted. Humanity had not waited idly. They had prepared in silence, polishing skills, upgrading technology, and readying fleets that could strike with speed and precision. The council did not know it yet, but they had miscalculated. They had assumed politeness meant weakness. They had assumed patience meant fear, but humanity had been silent for a reason. They had been preparing. They had been waiting, and they had been watching. On Titan, news of the destroyed hospital ship had reached the people and anger spread like wildfire. Families demanded justice. Children asked questions that adults could barely answer. Yet there was also a strange feeling of pride. Pride that Earth's fleets were ready. Pride that their leaders had not given up. Pride that humanity's patience had limits. Evan returned to the bridge of the station. He looked at the blinking red markers one more time. Soon they would move. Soon humans would respond. But tonight there was still silence. A calm before the storm. A quiet that masked the power waiting to awaken. Laura joined him again. She looked out at the distant stars. Do you think they understand now? She asked. Evan shook his head. Not yet. But they will. And when they do, they will never forget it. Below them, the shipyards hummed. The fleets waited. Crews checked weapons, calibrated shields, and ran simulations. Every system, every person, every weapon had a purpose. Humanity was no longer a species that begged for peace. They were a species that would defend themselves with patience, precision, and power. In the deep corners of the galaxy, the council laughed at the human warning. But on Mars and on Earth and on every colony beyond, humans prepared, and soon, that quiet, patient strength would be revealed. Evan turned to Laura one last time before leaving the bridge. We were polite. We warned them, and now we wait. But soon the galaxy will see that courtesy is not weakness, and they will understand that humanity cannot be tested and ignored. The stars kept shining. The planets moved in their silent orbits. And beneath the surface, in the heart of humanity, power waited, calm, measured, and ready. The council thought humans were polite. They thought they could attack without consequence. They thought the warning was just words. They were wrong. The quiet in space did not last long. Within days after Laura's warning, Reports of alien raids increased. This time the attacks were bolder, faster, and more destructive. Convoys near Jupiter's orbit were ambushed, and colonies on moons like Ganymede and Callisto reported damage to life support systems. Every message carried the same story. Humans were being pushed, tested, and underestimated. Commander Evan Brooks received the first alert in the early hours. The screen in front of him blinked red. Ships from the Threx Dominion had attacked a mining convoy near the asteroid belt. The system had limited defenses, and many civilian ships were destroyed before help could arrive. He ran his hand through his hair, frustrated. "They are trying to provoke us," he said quietly to himself. Luke Hammond, his second-in-command, leaned over the console. "And they are doing it successfully. Every time they attack, they hope we will hesitate. They hope we will only respond with words." Evan shook his head. "They do not understand. We have been waiting for this. They just do not know it yet." Far below on Earth, protests erupted again. People demanded action. Families of lost civilians, workers from the space stations, and students in the academy all joined in. They shouted for justice. They shouted for safety. And they shouted for humanity to stop being polite while others attacked them. The government held emergency meetings day and night. The president of Earth, a calm and steady woman named Caroline Hale, addressed the assembly. "We have tried to avoid conflict. We have tried diplomacy. We have tried patience. But our people are dying. Our colonies are at risk. It is time to take measured action to protect humanity. The Council has made their choice. Now we must make ours." Laura Pierce prepared another message to the Council. She felt a weight in her chest. She had always believed that words could prevent war, but the Council had ignored every warning. She spoke calmly into the transmitter. "Your attacks continue. You are testing patience that has limits. Stop now or face the consequences." The Council ignored her. High Speaker Vornar read the message with amusement. "Humans still think they have power," he said. "They are nothing compared to the fleets of the Threx Dominion and our allies. Let them prepare. Let them think. Their fear will come too late." Meanwhile, on the frontier colonies, people prepared in their own ways. Engineers repaired ships, farmers fortified domes, and teachers taught children how to stay safe during attacks. Humans had learned from centuries of challenges. They knew the importance of preparation, even in the face of uncertainty. Evan convened a meeting with his top commanders on the Mars station. The room was filled with maps, blinking indicators of enemy positions, and holographic displays of fleet movements. "We cannot wait any longer," he said. "The Council believes our patience is weakness. They are wrong. We will show them what humanity is capable of. But we will act with precision. We will strike to protect, not to destroy unnecessarily." Luke Hammond pointed at the map. "The next attack will likely be near Titan. Their raiders are moving in waves. They are testing our response times. If we do nothing, hundreds more civilians will die." Evan nodded. "Then we do not wait. We deploy defensive fleets to protect the colonies and use reconnaissance to track the enemy. Every attack they make will meet resistance. Every strike will be met with precision." Across the solar system, humans moved quietly but swiftly. Fleets left hidden shipyards. Each crew trained for months in simulations and combat exercises. Ships that seemed small to outsiders now carried devastating weaponry. Plasma cannons could cut through enemy armor like it was paper. Shields adapted instantly to energy attacks. AI systems predicted enemy movements and guided human fighters with uncanny accuracy. Evan stood on the bridge of the command ship, watching as fleet after fleet jumped into position. "They think they are testing us," he said. "They do not see the truth. They do not see that we have waited. We are ready." Laura monitored the transmissions from the colonies. Messages of distress, fear, and anger came in from every direction. She saw children asking why aliens were attacking humans. She saw families mourning loved ones. And she saw hope growing too, the hope that Earth's fleets could protect them. The first engagement happened near Titan. Alien raiders approached in formation, expecting to overwhelm the defense systems of the human colonies. But human ships were already in position. They moved silently, striking with precision. Plasma blasts tore through enemy hulls. Shields adapted instantly, absorbing attacks that would have destroyed older ships. Enemy fighters tried to escape, but human interceptors guided by AI predicted every maneuver. Within minutes, the raiders were destroyed. The surviving ships tried to flee, but the human fleet allowed them to escape. carefully disabling engines and communications without killing anyone unnecessarily. The Council had expected destruction and panic, but instead they saw control, skill, and restraint. Evan watched the battle unfold. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly. "They have no idea what humanity has prepared." Back on Earth, people celebrated the news. The first real victory had arrived, and it was not only military, it was symbolic. Humanity had defended itself. They had not reacted in anger, but in control. The message spread quickly. Humans could protect themselves, and they could do so with precision and care. Laura received reports from other colonies. The attacks were spreading, but each time humans responded, they limited civilian casualties and minimized destruction. The Council began to notice a pattern. They realized that humans were not reckless. They were strategic. They were patient. And now they were responding. High Speaker Vornar grew worried. How can this be? They should be weak, scattered, afraid. Yet every strike is calculated, precise, effective. His advisors murmured among themselves. Some began to question their confidence. Could humans really be stronger than they thought? Could patience hide power? On Mars, Evan addressed the commanders again. "We are not fighting for revenge. We are fighting for protection. Every colony, every civilian, every life is valuable, but we will respond with strength. Let them learn that patience does not equal fear." The Council began to panic. Aliens had never seen humans fight like this. The precision, control, and efficiency of the human fleets were unlike anything in the galaxy. Messages poured in from other members of the Conquered, asking for strategy, coordination, and help. The human warning had been ignored, but the consequences were becoming clear. Laura sent another transmission, not a threat this time, but a reminder. "We warned you. We offered peace. We acted with courtesy. Now understand this. Every attack against humanity will meet measured, precise resistance. We will defend ourselves, and we will not hold back when necessary." Evan watched as reconnaissance reports came in. Alien fleets were retreating from areas humans had defended. Ships that had once seemed invincible were now damaged or disabled. Humanity had not destroyed them completely, but they had shown strength. A message was clear. Humans were not to be tested. In the colonies, life continued under tension, but people felt safer. They saw their protectors in action. Pilots, engineers, and soldiers worked together, proving that humans could be both polite and powerful. Children learned that bravery did not always mean fighting. It meant preparation, strategy, and protection. Luke Hammond approached Evan on the bridge. "Do you think they finally understand?" Evan shook his head slowly. "Not yet. They will need more time. But they are starting to realize that humans cannot be pushed indefinitely. Our patience has limits, and they are reaching those limits now." Meanwhile, the Council debated in chaos. Some argued to increase attacks, thinking humans would tire. Others began to advocate for caution. "Perhaps we underestimated them," said one council member, a tall, green-skinned alien named Corin. "They are not what we thought. They are organized. They are patient. And they are dangerous." Vornar's confidence began to waver. He had laughed at the warning, thinking it empty words. Now he watched as humans defended colonies with skill, protected civilians, and demonstrated advanced technology he had never expected. He realized too late that the warning was not a bluff. On Mars, Evan looked out the observation window. The red dust below shimmered under the sun. He thought about the future, about the battles that might come, about the people he was sworn to protect, and about the power humanity had kept hidden for so long. "We were patient," he said quietly. "We waited, and now they will see what happens when patience is tested." Laura joined him, her tablet full of reports. "They are starting to retreat," she said. "They see what we can do, even if they do not understand it yet." Evan nodded. "Good, but this is just the beginning. They must learn that humanity's courtesy is not weakness. Every life we protect, every fleet we defend is a message. One day the galaxy will understand that we cannot be ignored." The fleets returned to their stations, damaged ships repaired quickly, weapons checked, and crews rested for the next engagement. Humanity had proven that they could defend themselves, and they had done so without unnecessary violence. But the Council had also learned another lesson. Polite humans could fight, and when pushed, they could strike with precision and power. As night fell over Mars and the stars shone brightly above, a quiet tension remained. The Council might retreat temporarily. The stars beyond the outer colonies were calm, but the silence was deceptive. Humanity had finished defending its own space, and now it was time to show the galaxy that patience had limits. Commander Evan Brooks stood on the bridge of the flagship Resolute, watching the lights of distant planets. Each blink represented a system once thought safe under the Conquered's protection, but now vulnerable. Humanity would not strike recklessly, but neither would it wait while the Council continued its attacks. Luke Hammond joined him, leaning against a console. "Do you think they know we are coming?" he asked quietly. Evan shook his head. "No, they still see us as polite, cautious. They do not understand that we have been preparing for this moment for decades. When they see the fleet moving into their space, they will realize the truth too late." Laura Pierce, monitoring communications from Earth and the colonies, entered the bridge. She looked serious but calm. "Our message has reached most council members. Some are beginning to reconsider the attacks, but many still believe we bluff. We need to make them see reality." The first targets were near the edges of the Orion Arm. Alien fleets thought they could escape detection, but humans had hidden sensors and AI networks that mapped their movements without alerting them. Every strike would be precise, targeted, and efficient. Humanity would not destroy unnecessarily, but they would make their presence undeniable. The fleet moved in silence. Hundreds of ships of different classes glided through space. Light reflected off armor plates designed to adapt to energy attacks. Missiles and plasma cannons were loaded, and AI-assisted targeting systems calculated the best approach. Every crew member knew their role. Every ship had been tested in simulations thousands of times. Evan watched as the first signals of enemy movement appeared on the sensors. Alien ships had gathered in formations near the planet Arcanus 5. They expected to dominate, to intimidate humans, and perhaps to continue the attacks on other colonies. What they did not expect was humanity's speed and precision. "Prepare the first wave," Evan ordered. "Let them see what patience looks like." Luke smiled slightly. "I think they are about to learn the hard way." The first engagement was unlike any the galaxy had seen. Alien ships moved aggressively, firing at human drones that acted as shields for the colonies. Humans did not panic. They responded with calculated strikes. Plasma beams cut through enemy hulls with surgical precision. Missiles hit propulsion systems, disabling ships without destroying crews. AI-guided interceptors flew in perfect formation, predicting maneuvers and preventing escape. From the bridge of the Resolute, Evan watched as enemy fleets attempted to regroup. Every attempt failed. Every escape route was blocked by human strategy. The aliens had thought humans would react emotionally, with chaos and anger. They had not expected patience, preparation, and skill combined into a single unstoppable force. Laura observed the battle from her station. "They will spread this news fast," she said. "The Council will start to understand that humanity is not weak. They will see that courtesy can hide great strength." In orbit above Arcanus 5, the final wave of alien ships attempted to flee. Human fleets did not fire on civilians or empty ships. Instead, they disabled engines, jammed communications, and forced retreats. It was a warning, a demonstration, and a lesson. Humanity could destroy them if necessary, but they chose restraint. Meanwhile, reports arrived from other systems. Alien raiders in nearby sectors had paused attacks, unsure if they were facing an ambush. Humans had created a network of sensors and patrols that allowed them to appear everywhere at once. The Conquered had never encountered anything like it. Their fleets were strong, but human coordination, speed, and intelligence were unmatched. Vornar, the High Speaker, paced in his chamber. He had expected humans to be polite, cautious, and slow to respond. Instead, he saw precision, efficiency, and power. He began to worry. "They are not bluffing," he said to his advisors. "They are ready. They are organized, and they are stronger than we imagined." The Council held emergency meetings. Members argued about how to respond, but no one had a clear plan. The humans were everywhere, yet nowhere. They struck in one system, then appeared in another, always precise, never reckless. The Threx Dominion and other factions had underestimated human patience, and now they were paying for it. On the Resolute, Evan and his commanders prepared for the next move. "We do not attack to conquer," Evan said. "We move to show the galaxy that humanity cannot be ignored. We move to defend, to protect, and to warn. Every strike must be calculated. Every life must be considered, but every action must show that we are ready for anything." Luke nodded. I think they are beginning to understand. The fear is spreading. Even Vornar cannot ignore it. The human fleet moved deeper into alien space. Colonies that had been attacked weeks before now saw human ships arrive. Supplies were delivered. Damaged stations were repaired. Communications were restored. It was a demonstration of power and care at the same time. The Council realized that humans could destroy them, yet they chose not to. That restraint was frightening. Laura watched the messages coming in. Families and colony leaders sent thanks and reports. They see the difference between humans and other civilizations, she said. We fight when necessary, but we protect whenever possible. That is what makes us dangerous. Evan looked at the stars ahead. We do not need to destroy to prove strength. Every life we save, every colony we protect, shows them that we are capable of more than they imagined. The message is simple. Humanity will not be pushed. Humanity will not be ignored. Humanity will respond. In the council chambers, panic grew. Members who had once laughed at the warning now discussed evacuation and surrender. Vornar struggled to maintain control, but every system report brought new evidence of human precision and power. The galaxy had assumed humanity was small, polite, and cautious. They were wrong. Humans had patience, intelligence, coordination, and power. That combination was deadly. Evan watched as alien fleets tried to regroup in the outer systems. He gave careful orders. Allow them to escape if they are empty ships. Disable only what is necessary. We show them our strength, not our cruelty. Let them live to learn the lesson fully. Luke shook his head in disbelief. They will not forget this day. The conquered thought they could attack us without consequence. They thought patience meant weakness. They were wrong. Every fleet, every colony, every ship we protect teaches them that lesson. Meanwhile, in remote corners of human-controlled space, engineers worked around the clock. Ships damaged in previous skirmishes were repaired and upgraded. AI systems received updates. New strategies were tested. Every move was coordinated from Mars, Earth, and hidden stations across the solar system. Humanity's response was not chaotic. It was planned, strategic, and relentless. The first direct encounter with the main conquered fleet was approaching. Alien commanders underestimated the humans' reach. They had assumed humans could only protect their colonies, only fight defensively. Now hundreds of human ships were moving toward key sectors in the Orion Arm. It was a show of force, but not an attack meant to destroy. It was a warning, a demonstration of what patience hiding power could achieve. Evan gathered the fleet leaders. We move into their space carefully. Every ship, every maneuver, every decision must be precise. We show them that we can strike anywhere, that patience has limits, and that courtesy is not weakness. Let them feel the power without losing their people unnecessarily. They must understand the consequences of testing humanity. The fleet moved silently as if shadows of the stars themselves. Alien scanners could detect them, but could not predict their actions. Every movement was calculated. Every strike, if needed, would be decisive. The conquered had never faced an enemy like this, an enemy who was polite, restrained, and prepared. Laura monitored transmissions from the colonies. They are watching us now, she said. They are beginning to understand that humans are not to be underestimated. Every action we take teaches them, even if they do not realize it fully yet. Evan looked at the stars stretching ahead. Patience is powerful, he said quietly. Courtesy is stronger than fear, and humans have waited a long time for this moment. Let them learn what happens when patience is tested. The first engagement with the main conquered fleet would begin soon. Alien ships were moving to defend key systems, thinking they could intimidate humans. But when they met the Resolute and the human fleet, they would see a different reality. They would see preparation, precision, and strength combined in a way they had never imagined. From the bridge, Evan gave the order. All ships report status. Prepare for engagement. Remember, we do not strike unnecessarily. We defend, we warn, we protect, but we show them we are ready for anything. Luke smiled. This is the day they will start to understand. They thought patience meant weakness. They thought courtesy was harmless. They will learn that human patience hides power beyond their imagination. Above the fleet, the stars stretched endlessly. Silence filled the void. But beneath that quiet, humans moved, prepared, and waited. They would strike when necessary, defend when needed, and teach the galaxy that humanity could not be ignored, underestimated, or challenged without consequence. The council had laughed at the warning. The Galactic Concord was in chaos. Reports kept coming of fleets disappearing, colonies being defended with unmatched skill, and alien raiders retreating in confusion. High Speaker Vornar could not hide his fear any longer. He had mocked humans, called them polite but weak. But now he was learning that patience and courtesy could hide terrifying strength. Vornar's chambers were filled with anxious council members. Some shouted, blaming each other for underestimating Earth. Others argued about retreating, while a few whispered about diplomacy that had been ignored for decades. The message Laura, Pierce had sent, simple, clear, and calm, was now proving more powerful than any fleet. They warned us, Vornar said quietly, gripping the edge of his table. They told us to stop. We ignored it. And now they are here, moving through our space like a storm we cannot stop. An advisor spoke nervously. High Speaker, perhaps we should send envoys. Maybe they will spare us if we offer surrender. Vornar shook his head. Too late. They are not here for negotiation. They are here to show us our mistake. And we have made many. Back in human space, Commander Evan Brooks observed the sensors with calm determination. Human fleets had moved deeper into Concord territory, striking only when necessary and disabling enemy ships without destroying crews. Every engagement demonstrated control, precision, and skill. It was a warning to the Council. Humanity had power, but it also had mercy. Every colony we protect, every fleet we disable is a message, Evan said quietly to Luke Hammond. We show them strength. We show them restraint. They will understand that courtesy does not mean weakness. Luke nodded. They are starting to understand. Even the smaller factions of the Council are confused. They do not know how to respond. Laura Pierce monitored communications from both human and alien sources. The news was astonishing. Some alien colonies had begun to question their leaders. Some commanders refused to continue attacks after seeing human fleets strike precisely and then pull back. Human patience and skill had created hesitation and fear. Evan spoke to the fleet over secure channels. Prepare for coordinated defense across multiple sectors. Our goal is not to destroy but to demonstrate. Every action must teach a lesson. Every maneuver must protect life while showing our capability. Remember, we fight to defend, not to punish. The fleet moved like a shadow across space. Alien. Scouts reported human ships appearing in systems they had thought safe. Entire sectors were monitored, and each human strike disabled enemy capabilities without destroying lives unnecessarily. It was both terrifying and impressive to the aliens. On the Council's main station, panic spread further. Delegates argued endlessly. Some demanded retaliation, some demanded surrender. But none had a clear plan. They had underestimated humans for too long. Now they faced the consequences. Vornar received a direct message from Laura Pierce. It was calm, concise, and filled with authority. We offered courtesy. You ignored it. We acted with restraint. You continued to attack. Now you face the consequences of your decisions. We do not seek war, but we will defend ourselves with precision and power. The chamber went silent. No one dared speak. The message was simple, but it carried weight. It reminded the Council that humans had the power to destroy, yet chose restraint. The realization struck fear into the hearts of the delegates. In orbit above Arcanus Prime, human fleets continued their operations. Alien forces attempted to regroup, but human AI systems predicted their moves before they could execute them. Human pilots disabled engines, communications, and weapon systems, making sure no lives were unnecessarily lost. The demonstration of control was overwhelming. Luke Hammond observed the battle from the Resolute. They do not know how to respond, he said. Every attack we make, every system we protect, shows them what happens when patience is tested. They are beginning to realize that we cannot be underestimated. Evan nodded. And they will learn the meaning of courtesy. We do not strike recklessly. We do not destroy without reason. But we will defend our people, and we will demonstrate our power clearly. Let them understand the difference between polite patience and weakness. Meanwhile, Laura Pierce prepared to visit the council chamber in person. She would go under diplomatic protection, but the moment she arrived, silence fell. Delegates and council members stared, unsure how to react to the human diplomat standing calmly in the heart of their territory. "Welcome, Ms. Pierce," Vornar said, trying to keep his composure. We were not expecting this visit." Laura's voice was calm, steady, and firm. "You were warned. You attacked, ignored messages, and tested humanity's patience. I am here to ensure you understand the consequences of your actions. We did not seek conflict. We did not want destruction. But our patience has limits, and now you see what happens when it is tested." The delegates were silent. Some were afraid. Some were angry. But none could challenge the truth in her words. Humanity had acted with precision, defended colonies, and shown control in every engagement. The lesson was clear. Humans were not to be underestimated. In human command centers, fleets continued operations. Every disabled enemy ship, every protected colony, reinforced the message. Humanity was powerful, patient, and controlled. It was a combination the Council had never seen. Reports arrived from colonies across the conquered. Survivors told stories of human fleets arriving just in time, defending their homes, and then disappearing as quietly as they came. Fear and awe spread across alien populations. Humans were no longer simply polite. They were a force to be respected. Vornar paced the council chamber, watching reports come in. "They can destroy us," he said quietly, "but they choose not to. And that makes them more dangerous than anything we imagined." One advisor spoke, voice trembling. "Perhaps we should send envoys, offer surrender, or request peace. Their power is beyond our calculations." Vornar nodded slowly. "Yes. But even surrender will not erase the lesson. Humanity has shown that courtesy can hide power, and the galaxy will remember this day for generations." On Mars, Evan watched the reports from the field. Human fleets had disabled enemy weapons, repaired damaged colonies, and provided supplies to civilians. Every action was calculated to teach a lesson without unnecessary harm. "We are showing them what it means to defend without anger," he said to Luke. "We are showing them what humanity is capable of. They will not forget it." Luke nodded. "Even if they survive, they will know. Every fleet we save, every colony we protect is a lesson in restraint and power." Meanwhile, Laura Pierce addressed the council one final time. Her words were calm, deliberate, and filled with authority. "You assumed humanity was weak. You assumed courtesy meant fear. You assumed patience was submission. You were wrong. We defend our people. We protect our colonies. We act with skill, precision, and restraint. This is humanity. Do not forget it." The council members were silent. Some bowed their heads in fear. Others whispered among themselves. The lesson had been delivered. Humans were not reckless, but they were unstoppable when pushed. Outside, human fleets returned to orbit near the colonies, repaired, resupplied, and ready for the next challenge. But the Council understood that humanity's mercy was intentional. Humans could destroy entire fleets, but they chose not to. That combination of restraint and power was frightening. Evan looked at the stars from the bridge of the Resolute. "They know now," he said quietly. "They know we are not weak. They know patience has limits. They know courtesy is not fear. And they know that if they continue to attack, humanity will act without hesitation." Luke smiled faintly. "I think the message is clear. They will not test us again, at least not easily." Laura Pierce monitored communications from the Council. Reports showed confusion, fear, and growing respect. Humans had not sought war, but they had proven that if peace was broken, they would act decisively. Humanity had demonstrated that courtesy could hide strength, and patience could hide power. In distant colonies, children learned from the reports. They saw human fleets protecting life, disabling attacks without unnecessary destruction, and showing skill beyond what aliens believed possible. They learned that patience was not weakness, and that courtesy could carry power. Back in the council chamber, Vornar finally sat, exhausted and shaken. "We underestimated them," he said quietly. "We mocked them. We ignored their warnings. And now we see what happens when patience is tested. Humanity is not weak. Humanity is not timid. Humanity is powerful, precise, and merciful, and that makes them more dangerous than any threat we have faced." Evan and his fleet returned to their stations, ready to continue defending humanity's colonies. Every engagement, every disabled fleet, every protected system reinforced the message. Humanity would not be pushed, underestimated, or ignored. Laura Pierce sent one final communication to the Council, not a threat, but a statement of fact. "We warned you. We acted with restraint. You ignored it. Now you know what happens when patience ends. Humanity will defend itself, its people, and its colonies. Courtesy is not weakness. Do not forget it." The galaxy fell silent, listening. The Council understood that humans could have destroyed fleets and planets, but they had chosen restraint. The combination of power, patience, and mercy was terrifying to civilizations that had always measured strength by aggression. Evan looked at the stars, thinking of Earth, Mars, the colonies. The galaxy watched in silence. Reports of human fleets moving with precision, striking only when necessary, and protecting life without hesitation had reached every corner of the Concord. Alien civilizations whispered about the humans of Earth. Some were afraid, some were in awe, and some wondered if they had ever truly understood what humanity was capable of. Commander Evan Brooks stood on the bridge of the Resolute. He looked out into the darkness of space where distant stars glittered like cold fire. His fleet was ready, fully armed, and strategically positioned near the Council's strongholds. Every ship carried weapons and defenses designed for efficiency, not destruction. Every crew member had trained for years, knowing the weight of responsibility that came with human power. Luke Hammond joined him at the observation window. "Do you think they finally understand?" he asked. Evan shook his head slowly. "Not yet. They understand fear. They understand our skill. They understand that patience has limits. But understanding humanity? That will take time, and they will learn it today." Laura Pierce monitored communications from Earth, Mars, and the colonies. She had spoken with countless leaders, civilians, and fleet commanders over the past weeks. Every report told the same story. Humans defended, humans protected, and humans struck with precision. The Council was beginning to panic, realizing that humans were not only powerful but also merciful. "They are trying to regroup," Laura said, pointing to the sensors. "The Council fleets are moving toward key systems. They think they can challenge us again." Evan nodded. "Let them try. We will show them what it means to underestimate humanity." The first engagement began near the outer rim of conquered space. Alien fleets advanced, hoping to regain control. Human scouts detected them immediately. Fleets moved with silent precision, intercepting enemy ships before they could attack the colonies. Plasma beams cut through engines and weapon systems, disabling ships without killing crews. AI-guided interceptors predicted every maneuver, leaving the aliens no room to escape. Luke Hammond observed the battle from the Resolute. "They thought they could push us. They thought we were weak. They will never think that again." Evan nodded. "Every action we take is a lesson. They will understand that patience and courtesy are not weaknesses. They are strength waiting to be shown." Meanwhile, Laura Pierce prepared a message to the Council. She spoke calmly, her words deliberate. "We have acted with restraint. We have protected life. We have disabled your fleets. You have seen what happens when humanity is tested. You have learned that courtesy is not weakness. Do not test us again." The Council received the message in silence. High Speaker Vornar stared at the screen, his blue skin pale under the chamber lights. "We have underestimated them," he said quietly. "They are not weak. They are not polite by accident. They are prepared, and they are unstoppable when pushed." Some Council members tried to speak, to argue for retaliation, but fear silenced them. Human fleets had shown mercy, yes, but they had also shown undeniable power. The combination terrified the Council. In orbit around Arcanus 5, the battle continued. Alien fleets tried to strike human outposts, hoping to disrupt supply lines and morale. But humans were everywhere at once, precise in movement and execution. Supply convoys reached colonies under attack. Damaged stations were repaired. Communications were restored. Every human action reinforced the lesson. Strength combined with mercy could outmatch aggression. Evan looked at the stars and thought of Earth, Mars, and the distant colonies. Humanity had been tested. Humanity had been pushed. And now humanity was responding. Not recklessly, not in anger, but with calculated power. Luke Hammond spoke softly. They will remember today forever. Every fleet we protect, every system we defend is a lesson in patience and strength. Evan nodded. Yes, they will learn that courtesy can hide power and that patience can hide skill. They will know that humanity cannot be ignored or underestimated. The human fleet moved deeper into the conquered space. Alien forces had scattered, unsure where humans would strike next. Every system that had been attacked previously saw human ships arrive to protect, repair, and restore. Civilians watched in awe and relief. The humans of Earth were not only defenders, they were saviors. Laura Pierce addressed the council once more, this time in person at their central chamber. Delegates and leaders fell silent as she spoke. We offered courtesy. We were patient. We warned you. You ignored it. You attacked our people, our colonies, and our civilians. We acted with restraint, but now you understand what happens when patience ends. Humanity will defend itself. Humanity will protect its own. Courtesy is not weakness. Do not forget it. The council had no response. Vornar could only nod, realizing too late that every misjudgment, every dismissal of human warnings had led to this moment. Humanity was not reckless, but they were prepared. Humanity was not cruel, but they were unstoppable when pushed. In distant colonies, children learned from the stories of the battles. Pilots had saved fleets. Engineers had repaired stations under fire. Scientists had restored systems faster than anyone imagined. Humanity had defended life, yet demonstrated a power the galaxy had never seen. They learned that patience could be dangerous if tested, and courtesy could carry authority beyond words. Back on the Resolute, Evan addressed his fleet. This is our final demonstration. Every action must protect life, every strike must show skill, and every move must teach the galaxy a lesson. They will see that humans do not bluff, that humans are not weak, and that humans will defend themselves without hesitation if pushed too far. The final engagement occurred near the conquered Central Fleet Hub. Alien commanders attempted to launch coordinated strikes hoping to crush human forces. But the humans anticipated every move. Enemy engines were disabled. Weapon systems shut down. Communications jammed. Crews were captured without harm. Entire fleets were neutralized without unnecessary destruction. The lesson was clear. Humanity could destroy, but they chose restraint. Luke Hammond looked at the displays, disbelief on his face. I cannot believe how smoothly this is going. They thought they could attack without consequence. They will not forget this day. Evan nodded quietly. No, they will never forget it. Every fleet, every colony, every system we defend sends the same message. Humanity will not be tested without consequence. Courtesy does not mean fear. Patience does not mean weakness. Laura Pierce sent one final message to the galaxy. It was simple, clear, and direct. We have protected our people. We have defended our colonies. We have acted with restraint, mercy, and precision. Do not mistake our patience for weakness. Humanity is ready. Humanity is capable. Humanity is not to be tested. The galaxy listened. Every civilization received the message. Some were afraid. Some were impressed. But all knew the truth. Humans were not to be underestimated. They could strike with power, act with skill, and defend with mercy. The lessons of patience, restraint, and precision spread across the stars. Vornar and his council could only watch. The Concord fleets had been tested. They had seen what humans were capable of, and they understood that humanity's patience was not endless, but it had been enough to teach a lesson the galaxy would never forget. On Earth, people celebrated quietly. The war had not reached their home planet, but the message was clear. Humanity had acted decisively, skillfully, and morally. Families hugged each other. Children smiled. Leaders breathed easier. Humanity had survived the test. Humanity had shown the galaxy that polite words could carry power, and patient restraint could command respect. Evan stood once more on the bridge of the Resolute. The stars stretched endlessly before him. He thought of every person who had fought, every engineer who had worked tirelessly, every pilot who had risked their life. Humanity had won not through recklessness or anger, but through preparation, patience, and precision. Luke Hammond joined him silently. "Do you think they understand now?" he asked. Evan smiled faintly. "Yes, they understand fear, skill, and mercy. But the full meaning of humanity? That they will carry for generations. They will never underestimate humans again." Laura Pierce observed the communications network. Messages from alien civilizations showed fear, respect, and awe. The galaxy had received the final lesson. Humans were not weak, courtesy was not a shield for submission, and patience was a strength that, once exhausted, revealed extraordinary power. Evan turned to his crew. "Return to normal operations. Maintain readiness. We have shown them what humanity can do. Let this be a lesson to the galaxy. Earth defends its own. Humanity protects life. Humanity responds when pushed too far." Across space, the conquered fleets retreated. They had learned their lesson without total destruction. Humanity had spared them, showing mercy even as they demonstrated overwhelming power. The combination was something no species had seen before. Respect for humans spread across systems, and fear followed in equal measure. In the colonies, life returned to a cautious normal. Humans rebuilt what had been damaged, repaired what had been broken, and strengthened what had been threatened. But everywhere, the memory of the fleet's precision, skill, and mercy lingered. Humans had defended, they had warned, and they had taught a lesson that would last for generations. Evan looked out one last time at the stars. "We were patient. We were polite. We warned them.